Welcome to the LaRae Show. I am your host, Alysha Ellis, and I have a very special guest with me today, Jordan Simmons. What's going on?
What's up, Leash? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great and blessed. Thank you. Thanks for that.
Absolutely. So it takes a lot to get Jordan to cross over the bridge, get him in Cleveland. So we're honored to have you on the show. And for those of you tuning in for the first time, the LaRae Show is all about bringing more light everywhere by heart-to-heart conversations. So I'm excited to dive deeper with my brother. We've known each other for over 2 decades.
Long time.
It's been wild.
Yeah.
So why don't you share a little bit about yourself for our audience?
All right, cool. So my name is Jordan Simmons. I am an entrepreneur here in Northeast Ohio region. I'm a father, husband, son. I love God. You know what I mean? I love to help people find their purpose, things of that nature. Love to do music. I'm a producer.
Yep.
Production director. So yeah, it's more broad than just one small description. But yeah, I do a lot of things in that area. But who I am, I'm just a good brother from the Northeast Ohio area. Love sports and stuff. You know, been knowing you forever. I know your whole name.
Right.
I almost call you by your whole name.
The whole name.
The whole name.
Yeah, and we'll get into a lot of that as well. But I wanted to share a couple fun facts about Jordan. So,
Okay.
I started with knowing Jordan for over 2 decades. He's humble, so he won't mention, but he is an Ohio legend for sure. From the music scene to the sports, played football in college, right? Yeah. And then obviously I known you when you was a hooper in high school and middle school and all that good stuff. Fun fact about Jordan, he's also a big time mama's boy. So we got to make sure we put that in there. Love to moms. Shout out to moms.
Okay, shout out to moms.
And something people don't know about Jordan here, and I want to make sure I get this right, is Jordan actually an underground rapper. That goes by the name of CBGB, Church Boy Gone Bad.
Wow, where's that come from? You made that up?
I made it up.
That's good.
That's
man.
good, right?
Wow.
So if you would, I kind of peeped it off like Rihanna, good girl gone bad. It's Church Boy Gone Bad. So if Jordan was an underground rapper, that would be your name.
I was underground something. I don't know about rapper. Underground something, but
underground what? If you can label it, what would it be?
Oh man, I probably would say that's a tough one. It's like military. Like can't tell you. That's what is it? Certified, classified.
Yeah,
that's
classified information.
Yeah, classified.
But if he was an underground rapper, it would definitely be that Church Boy Gone Bad.
That's funny. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Question: do you remember the name you gave me back at church?
Wow.
It relates to actually the show, which is very interesting.
Okay.
So we're probably thinking like 2015-ish. Man. We're talking about podcasting. This was before podcasting actually was a big thing.
Right. Man, okay, okay. You was dancing. We had to do something with dancing, right?
Nope. Oh, maybe.
When I say dancing, like liturgical dancing.
And out here twerking.
Yeah. Let's clear that up.
Please, I'm like, that's 15. Like, damn, put my business out there like that.
He's silly. I mean, I'll probably...
Testing the memory. Showtime.
That is right. Wow.
And then look, full circle.
That's so crazy.
It's wild. We were thinking about putting together a podcast.
Showtime Ellis. That
Showtime
is right.
Ellis.
Wow. It just came back to me. Wow.
I love it. So let's get into what are you looking for the most for 2023?
Oh man, get healthy and stay healthy. That's it.
That's it.
Get healthy, stay healthy. All aspects. Health, wealth, all aspects. Like get healthy, stay healthy. That's pretty much for
that's
this
it.
Year. Like I've put in a lot of work over the last few years to where I can actually be at a place where I can move how I want to move. That was an objective, to just really just get into the current.
Right.
Now I'm sailing, but I don't want to be sailing and then not healthy because you can't maintain that good pace without being healthy. So just get healthy and remain healthy. That's That's 2023 all day.
That's it. And we were just talking about that before we jumped on, working on that wholeness, right? And the impact that our environment, food, culture has on our mind, body, and spirit. And so, all these episodes so far has been kind of the same theme around this, because I feel like as a generation and as a people group, we are being awakened to how essential our health is, and not something that's just like, oh, what you eat or how you exercise. It's all of it.
Everything, for sure.
So what is health like for you? Because I know it's a journey, right? And you learn there's a lot. We don't really come from a culture, knowing you and you know me, we don't really come from a culture like health has always been like the least priority.
Right.
Especially
Right.
even when you talk about church and all of that. It's like black and brown community, it's just not a priority. So what is health like? What does that look like for you?
Excuse me. Yeah, like mentally now, like mental health is become one of the higher priorities. Of course, of course.
Yes.
In all aspects of that as well. From my own, self care has been huge. Something that I never really dove into, getting into self care. Of course, physical health. So I'm a dad, entrepreneur, like trying to carve out that time. When you're able to,
For you.
get the heart going, get the blood pumping, which is important. Cardio, vascular, all that stuff. Like if you don't use it and you don't maintain it, like then it can hurt you in the long run.
You still on the court?
Yeah, so we still get buckets.
I said that it sounds convincing.
We still get buckets
Okay.
at 35. LeBron is 38.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, the truth. It's a Northeast Ohio thing. I'm just gonna throw that out here, but yeah, we still play. Like,
Okay.
yeah. I could probably name a good like 10 to 15 guys like that 04 graduate, 05, 06, 07.
Yep.
They still get it in. Like still
Yeah.
just get that sweat, get out of
Right.
there.
And good for brotherhood, dialogue, community. Like it's those things are essential for sure.
It's a good outlet too. That way you can still talk trash and not get police called on you. You can throw a couple elbows and not get in trouble. You know what I mean? Get that. It's a good stress reliever.
Yep.
Which is terrible for health. Stress is bad.
So what's the first thing you? All right, Jordan. Jay Sims comes down the court. Right, he hits swish. All right. Next possession, same thing. Like you hit 3 shots in a row. What do you say next?
You better guard me. Step up. You better step up.
Step it up.
You better step up. That's it. You better step up.
I can see you. I can imagine how big of a trash talker you can be out there,
it's pretty
especially
bad.
when you're hot. It's over with.
It's pretty bad because I don't get to do it. I don't get to do it all the time. But out there, it's like I said, it's a good stress reliever.
Yes,
it's good. But yeah, that's those two, of course, and then like one of the another one is financial. Financial wealth and health is important because they all work together.
Right.
They all work together because depending on how much you spend and what you spend it on, quality of food, quality of places to where you exercise, how you exercise, all that goes into it, and then prioritizing, like, do you have time to work out where you could be working, or is working is it okay to not work so you can go work out so you can actually be healthy and not get sick later on, but without having to worry about, am I missing out on money? You know what I'm saying? Like, that balance is there, like, and that confidence, like, okay, I got time. I got 35, 45 minutes to go, run
real quick
with the fellas, and then go back home, shower up, get straight to the office, get to work, without thinking, oh man, I missed out. Like, I missed out on a deal,
Yeah. So how's it been kind of reprioritizing then for you? And I would even like, when we think about it, we always hear like, oh, you acting brand new or you done changed, right? And it's such a negative thing in our community. So like when you're talking about 3 areas that have and historically been prioritized. So physical health, mental health, and financial health. We are the poorest in all 3 of those categories historically, culturally. So for you, how is that kind of like breaking through those cycles and saying, no, I'm going to put these things as a priority because of X, Y, and Z? Like, how's that journey kind of been for Jordan and then your household, right? Because you have a wife, 2 kids.
Man, that's a great question. Jeez. Like, it's been tough. It's been tough because it's a frequency. Like being at this place where you're moving in a certain direction at a certain time. That's what I feel like is God led.
Yep.
Is like it's a frequency, and not everybody can move in that same frequency. But that's why it's important to be around people that's like minded. That's mainly what it is being that same type of frequency. But
Absolutely.
there are people for some reason they view you. You know, they don't necessarily see you, but they view you, and they're like, "Yo, what are they doing? Like, what are they on?" Instead of asking the right questions, the easy thing is to just be like, either try to attach to you or just be like, let me just slow them down a little bit so I can see what's going on.
Yeah.
Instead of just asking the right questions and then trying to, relate in different ways where they can be on that same frequency.
Right.
So what happens is it kind of has like a mental wear to where you like such and such is treating me different now because he's doing big things.
Mm-hmm.
But a few weeks ago, he had hit me up for this or this, like, so now he don't answer the phone. Well, I'm at a different space, different place. I'm trying to grow in those three areas where, number one, you don't have time to just talk. You know what I mean? You don't have that time that you had before. Prioritizing. Everything is down to the hour, to the half an hour, to the 5 minutes.
That's wild.
Which is, everybody don't live like that. Everybody don't see life like that. They just see kind of like, I got to do this for this 8 hours or this 5 hours. Once I'm done, then I'm free. And after that, like, then what?
Then
like,
you do it
again,
again, and again and again.
If you don't give your mind no parameters, it's gonna search and go to whatever's been flashing at your eyes. What we just talked about a little bit ago, like subliminal. Your mind's gonna go to that.
Yeah.
Right to it every time. It's how our brains are set up.
Absolutely. And I always say it's like, for me, and you've seen my journey, some of it up close and personal, right? And vice versa. It's like when you're growing, the people around you who've known you, who's like, them diaper friends and families, it's a choice that they have. It's like either they're gonna grow with you or they're not. And what I think I've had to learn sometimes the hard way is I try to bring everybody with me because that's my heart and that's part of God. So you want them, if you get awakened to something, it's just like getting put onto like the newest shoes or the best new restaurants. Like, you're going to hit up everybody or the next hot song. It's like you want everyone to know. So the same thing is when you're having these other awakenings that's like more powerful for your purpose in your life and your destiny. And then you want everyone else to get it with you and like, yo, we can all eat, like we can all make it. And I find it challenging for me. It's just like learning the balance of if they're not ready, they can't that can't slow down my momentum. Right. So in the past, I would stop and I would wait and I'd be like, come on, shaking them, pulling them up, babysitting, and it's just like, but that's slowing me down. So what I've learned through grace is that I can still love them, but not have to be waiting on them for them to be pulled through. Like they need to have their own encounter, their own awakening. So I'm curious. I feel like it's kind of similar in your experience. It's like some people it's hard to let go of, but you gotta keep moving.
That's kind of like our culture. It's like you'd be surprised how many people won't leave. I want to say they won't leave like their situation. I won't say the hood because that's such a small
thing.
Like I would say they won't leave their situation because they're either afraid or just how they've been kind of groomed that they're not able to express express it. Like I want better, and I'm gonna go figure out how to get
it out.
And it's like, well, ain't that bad here. Like you do well here.
My dad was here.
Granddad did good. Right. Like so, that's that's a cultural thing. It's cultural, and then also like I said, like I was saying, like when you're learning on the signs and the symptoms of the mental health side, where you see like, there might be an issue there. There's possibly was an issue there that's untreated. Let's talk about it. Let's find you a person that's professional that you can talk to about that. to get through barriers. Everywhere you go, no matter how much you're gonna elevate, that wholeness and that purpose is gonna always be there. You know, it's always gonna be there. And the higher you go, the further it gets away. Kind of like those issues get away, but they know exactly when to show up later on and disturb your purpose. If you don't go and disturb it before, if you don't go and fix it later on at the worst time, it'll come back.
Yeah,
you know,
it's so real.
You can love everybody, but you can't lead everybody. You know what I'm saying?
And we're not meant to. That's like the thing. It's like we put on all this pressure, and we allow it to burden us. And then we get sick, right? And now it's like, damn, I'm always giving this old boy $20. It's like, now I'm like financially struggling, or I'm not able to buy my daughter, you know? So it's like those situations that to prioritize is also understanding, like, I had a mentor tell me, like, Alysha, you're not the Messiah. I'm like, what you mean? Like, why? And I was like, that was back in like 2014, 2015. And it was a reality check for me because I did want to pull so many people. I did want to host so many people, but
Everybody.
Put it on my back.
Right, you need help. You need help. You need help.
Yeah.
You really need help. Get over here. But not everybody want to go though. Like everybody, like I mean, look at Moses, man. Like you would have thought after 400 years.
Yeah, they would have been running out of there.
Like, man, they was like, man, we don't know for sure. Matter of fact, you one of them. Like he was like, yo, like we got to get out of here. Like, I'm getting y'all out. 400 years, y'all don't have to go through this no more. Like, let's run. They was like, you know, you could have just left us in there.
Yeah, after they got the whole complaining.
Right, you could have left us in there. But yeah, I mean, you got to, you know, that when you see somebody and you see destiny on them, you see purpose in them, it's like it's important to be able to identify that. You know, speak to that. Don't necessarily speak to the person. Speak to that. Speak to the destiny. Speak to the purpose. Plant a seed. Sometimes just keep it going. Like, I'm still learning. I think it's a book. It's like it talks about like the different categories of friends.
Okay.
It's like I forgot them. I need to learn them all. Like comrade. There's comrade. There's I don't know. I'm gonna find that though.
Yeah.
But there's like different versions. Like not that like you should categorize your friends, but you kind of can. But kind of I don't know. For me, I'm working on that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
it's like different leadership styles. There's different work styles. The 5 love language is like I think it's important to know who you're laboring with, like to be able to do that and understand that those things are also seasonal. Yep. So you talked about purpose a few times. So I know that, and I also know the work that you've done leading up to this point. Yeah. Talk to us about like what purpose is for Jordan.
Man, purpose for me is a long process of amazing ups, tragic downs, and a whole lot of supernatural stuff happening in my life to lead me to finding out why I was put here at this time.
That's deep.
Yeah, that's pretty much like one of the ways I can explain it, even though there's so many different variations of it, but that's for now, right now, what I'm feeling is like it's so much to explain and so much to unpack, but just knowing why I'm here and knowing my purpose here is everything. You know, it's everything. It keeps me going.
Keeps you going.
Yeah. It's stamped by God Himself. Boom.
Yeah, I love that. Well, with that being said, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with the LaRae Show.
Hey, if I was going to work, I wanted to look a little something like this. Pro3 Entertainment is Northeast Ohio's premier podcast provider, offering all the services you need to get your show off the ground. Reach out to us today at contactpro3ent@gmail.com.
All right, welcome back to the LaRae Show, again with a very special guest, my brother, Jordan Simmons. We're talking about purpose, everything purpose, and I was just waiting to get into this on the show because this is something we've talked about in depth over the years, and I know this is part of your brand, part of your purpose is talking about purpose, helping people discover their purpose, and I've just been able to coin like how to monetize your purpose because I think that's another piece in this conversation, but also in the evolution of discovering your purpose, because our purposes, our gifts, our talents should sustain us. So for you, obviously, I know the many gifts that you occupy in, and that you work in consistently, and you've been able to sustain yourself, your family, do those different gifts. So how have you been able to discover your purposes over the years?
Okay, so that's okay. It's a lot. So my life purpose was discovered 2017,
Okay.
but I've known it my whole life, but it wasn't discovered. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Until like 2017. So, long story short, always had this question like, why am I a little bit different than everybody? And struggle with that growing up. Of course, growing up, preacher's kid, growing up, 2-parent household,
Yep.
upper middle class, a little bit different than a lot of my friends, and didn't understand certain things about myself, but I just knew that was just the way I was going to be, which was discipline, which was structured early on, which was like wanting to help people all the time, even if they did me dirty. like where did that come from when you're 9? Like,
Yes.
didn't realize all that led up to when I discovered it, and then, it was a different way of how I discovered it, because it was a rough time and rough patch, because I just didn't have any direction for a second. Like, I was kind of like without a sail, in the middle of the ocean. And then I finally was like, yo, I'm wrestling with God. I'm not gonna wrestle no more. I had one of them Jacob moments. You know the story about Jacob. I had a wrestling with God moment, and God laid me down and was like, I'm about to explain to you all these details of your life, and I'm gonna show you this system of 21 days. How to get in your purpose, discover it, get in it, and live it.
Wow.
For the rest of your life. And there's 3 words I remember seeing so vividly in my brain and my mind was strategic, intentional, and unapologetic. That was the big 3 words. I remember seeing them like they were huge. Like, I was like, oh, okay, I see it. So like, I mean, I probably got away from the question, but
no, it's
yeah,
good.
I mean, purpose is like it's everything. And our culture, and I say our culture, we've kind of been hit with a plague, so to speak, of like being followers.
Yeah, talk about it.
What I'm saying? Like, not having your own identity, falling through the cracks, or they say fall by the wayside. All this cultural things, like, my dad used to say, monkey see, monkey do, stuff like that, And I mean, I owe a lot as well. I owe a lot to my parents, and especially my dad, because he was really, really, hard on us about, those things. Like I said, like, that was part of the growing up.
Elder Kurt.
Man, he was tough. He was tough. Still tough to this day. But those things I can never, ever, ever take for granted, because, they made me strong now.
Yeah.
Part
of your foundation.
Yeah, man. Like, just the discipline side, which I fought a lot. I fought because I didn't see my friends being, having that type of discipline, having that type of structure, and I wanted to, be like, hey, I want to be like them, and then, over time, it's like, just accept it, bro. Like, accept it. Like, this is who you are. This is who
the tight ship over there at the Simmons household.
Yeah. For the most part, we weren't perfect, but we had our standards.
Yep.
Our standards there, very affirming. We're gonna get affirmed. You're gonna get quality care. You're gonna get quality. What's the word I'm looking for? Your assets is going to be quality. You're gonna have good resources.
Yep.
To make sure that you put your best foot forward. We learned that early. So.
And you can't overlook the love that all that is found, like, is seated in that. So it's not setting you up for failure. Yeah. It's for and as children, we don't get that, right? So it's like, no, this is, And a lot of that comes from their upbringing, whether it was lacking or it was successful. And it was like, no, this is what we're going to do so that you're not like what we see, And I think a lot of that and just understanding that love, it's not always that like gushy feely. No, it's stern sometimes. It's hard sometimes. And I can be more appreciative of that now looking at it than, being 8, 9 years old. It's like, nah, I'm not trying to hear none of that.
Right. And it's like, you don't want to be like such and such, or one of the biggest ones was, if we were really acting up, we would do something like go by the graveyard and be like, this is where such and such is at. Nah, that didn't do what they were supposed to do. They didn't listen. So you getting that early on, real. It's like eye-opening. So
we're not playing with you.
Yeah.
This is reality. This is real life out here.
You're going to learn. You're going to really learn. And somewhere along the line, it went from like me wanting to help them individuals who were on the way down that road, started talking to them, started, befriending them, and then trying to figure out their life and figure out what's wrong. Like, what's wrong? Like, trying to find out what's wrong. Like, a lot of times, most of the times, 8 out of 10 times, rejected. Like, man, you don't get out of here with that. Like, we don't do that. Event after event after event, thousands of events are probably done, and literally, on the spiritual side, you feel, we call it discernment. You feel, a certain way or about the person. You can tell like something's going on.
Something's happening,
right?
Yeah.
Like, in all these years, and man, get in the car and drive home. But like, man, something was going on with, our sister, or something was happening with what's his name? All these years, and knowing it, and then not knowing what that was.
Right.
Like, what is that? Like, I just want to go and have a good time and leave. Like, nope, can't do that.
No.
God was like, nah, that's not how it's gonna roll. You're gonna have to go see people, figure out what's going on, help them some type of way, get them on the right path, and then bounce.
Yeah, and that's become a good time though for you. When you think about it now, it's just
it's amazing.
Now it's just like, wow, that feeds me more than what I thought.
It's amazing.
Created that joy. It is joy. And I remember, like, I don't know if you remember the guy that used to stand. I don't know what street it was, but he used to stand with the boombox.
Yeah. DJ Joey.
He used to be out. I remember like being seven or 8 years old. We were, we was a book competition at school, and I want to say that the name of the book was Helping People that I wrote, and he was like one of my characters in the book. Like,
wait, you wrote a book called Helping People?
Yes, this was like when I was at Durling.
Where's
I have it at the crib.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, and I remember, and I was just like. And I honestly, I dedicated that book to my mom because when I published my first official book, if you don't count the 7-year-old Alysha author.
I count it.
But I counted too.
I count it. Where's the camera? I count it. It counts.
When I was writing that, I was like, man, I know I had those books, but I don't know where. We moved around a lot, so a lot of stuff didn't make it through, 18 years transition.
Right.
But my dad, one thing he told me, he was like, before he passed, I signed him a copy of my book, and he was like, I have the original one.
Wow.
And I was like, what? And he said it like 2 or 3 times. I just like thought he was just kind of, whatever. So I didn't. Yeah. But he was like mad serious. He's like, I have the original one. He's like, go check in the file cabinet. I checked in the file cabinet. Here's a book from the 2nd grade in a plastic bag that I wrote.
Wow. You still got it?
Still got it. Then I found another one.
I need to see this.
I got you. I'm gonna send you the proof. But I share that because that helping people, I felt like I had that same thing, and I didn't really realize it. And I remember going to college and being embarrassed to say that's what I wanted to do. Right. Because what do you study?
Right. What do you call that?
What do you call that? And then you're looking at an advisor who's looking at you because you're really not even supposed to be there. Let's be honest. Like, we're not supposed to be there. And I was just like, in my heart, I wanted to say, I just want to help people. Yeah. So now kind of full circle, it's just like, this is part of, who we are. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For sure. That's a lot, Alysha. I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready. Listen, that's major. Like, yeah.
That's real though.
Yeah, because that's it's almost like where do you fit in?
Because we're not meant to. And that's how you were raised in that. It's just like, We not the monkey see monkey do. We not cutting. I don't care what was it. I don't care if your friend doing it.
It didn't work. It
doesn't matter.
It wasn't gonna cut it. You wasn't gonna cut it. It's like, but then it's like the older you get, you know, you gotta start getting ready to go to college. You know, you want to pick your college out. What you want to do? Business, so broad.
Right.
You want to do social work. You want to do this. Like, it's just so broad. But this is so, because purpose is so embedded in eternity.
Yeah.
It's different. There's no teaching. There's no
way more than what we understand either.
It's way beyond it because it's actually in time.
Yeah.
And it's only we're only here for a short time, right? So in that time, it's like, what are you getting done that is the main reason why you're here? And then how does that translate to regular everyday life?
Yep.
You know, for me personally, it's through a lot of mentoring lately. It's been mentoring. It's been life coaching. It's been speaking. A lot of music venue in the music area, like kind of helping people with expressing themselves through music, you know, stuff like that. And I'm still learning. Like,
we all are.
Yeah.
We're young. We're still young.
We're still
right? That's
young,
the beautiful thing. It's just like
young
to be
peoples.
here, and that's where I think we can just give a lot of thanks for the upbringing. That was one thing. And me and my sister was talking about this recently. Me and Liv, like, man, we got exposed to both worlds. So, and that. It was like there was a foundation though that my mom laid. No matter what, everything that we experienced as children, it was knowing that like God loves me, and I love God, even if I don't really know what that fully is. There's something above me. There's a higher power that I'm connected with that lives in me, and that discovery, that true self-discovery. And that's what I talk about in my book. Is it's like talking about that purpose. And you talked about something about identity that. I say like we're living in a crisis. Our generation does not. We've been in an identity crisis.
It's been for a while. It's been for a while. And it's even worse now. And there's a whole nother conversation, a whole nother day because of the invisible force. I call it the invisible force that's fighting individuals daily. That's kind of like, if I keep you here, keep you at this space, then that's a good place to keep you that way. There's certain areas that you won't reach, or it's marginalization.
Yeah.
To say the least, but it's different, more than just money. It's all those different aspects of just experience. There's different aspects of growing. The biggest one is legacy and lineage that gets smacked. They get smacked hard, like, because that's everything.
Yeah,
like,
that's the seed.
That's everything.
You can take that, then you don't have nothing else. The fruit. So we're definitely gonna bring Jordan back to the show in the future. But I wanted to play this game with you.
Oh, man,
I try to play these games and break it up some. So knowing Jordan, definitely a 90s baby for sure in that bloodline. So I would say arguably that the 90s is one of the best eras.
The greatest time of all time.
All time, right? So that's when we had the drip of the the curls, right? Yep. We had the long jerseys.
Oh man.
And we had the gospel choirs that was popping more than the clubs. I remember as a kid going to the traveling and just like I was like, man, this is wild. So the game is, I'm gonna name something and you're gonna give me like your favorite memory that comes to mind.
All right, cool.
All right.
Cool.
So Kurt Franklin.
Kurt Franklin.
The game is not to spend too much time.
Don't go too much time. This is the first thing.
First thing that comes.
All right. Kurt Franklin. Okay. When Stump video came out.
Like you want to stomp.
When the Stump video came out, and then when I can't remember the name of it. Was it Rebirth? Whatever album had Do You Want a Revolution?
Do You Want a Revolution?
Yeah.
It was revolutionary.
It was revolution. Listen, I probably played that album 1,000 times a day.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he had the red. Everyone was in red always. That was the color.
That was amazing. Yeah, I never forget that. Like those, yeah.
And that's when it was like gospel was better than the club. Like
It was
he
changing.
brought it.
He changed the game.
Yeah,
he changed
for
the
sure.
game for sure.
All right, Michael Jordan.
I mean, I'm named after the guy. I'm named after him. Okay, but first memory. I'm sorry. First memory of MJ buying his shoes. I think I had the 5s. I think I had the Jordan 5s.
What color?
The white, the original white and black.
The all white black.
They was so crispy.
Did you hoop in J's?
I never hooped in J's. I just always felt like it was disrespect.
Yeah. I don't know many people who hoop. I think it is disrespectful.
I just never did.
And I don't think they're meant to be hooped in either, unless there was, what was the Bow Wow movie that he was hooping in the J's?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Magic Mike.
Yes.
Was it? No, not Magic Mike.
Goodness.
Like Mike.
Like Mike.
Like Mike.
Yeah.
All right. Playing outside.
Sandlot baseball.
I was not thinking this is where you go with this one.
Yeah. We had the best park down the street from my house. Make that left into the woods. Back there in the woods was a park. And walking around, because we didn't have text messages. We didn't have Facebook, MySpace yet. It was like you had to go to everybody's house and be like, hey, the game started at 3.
Come outside.
Or can Louis come outside and play baseball? Like, then people would just show up and we would play.
Right, so you kids who was watching, we did play outside in the 90s.
Yeah, you had to go outside because you couldn't come back in. Because you can't go back in and out. You're going to let the air out.
Right. Or you not. Once you out,
you
out.
And you better be in
before I call you in.
Before the street light come on.
All right, braids.
I had them, and they were down
hang
here.
Time.
Yeah, I wanted them because Allen Iverson had them, and my brother had braids first. My older brother, and people get us we get mixed up all the time. People still, I'm 35 and I still get called Ryan, my brother's name. So he had braids, I had a haircut. He cut his hair. I was like, well, this is a good time to grow my hair out. I grew my hair out, and hair got crazy long. I kept them until like 2014. I finally cut them.
What age were you when you first got them?
I was 16.
Yes. When you first got braids?
Yep, 16, 17.
Wow.
Yep, like junior, sophomore year.
I thought you was younger.
Started growing out. Yep, like sophomore year, junior year.
All right, Bible school.
Bible school? Like kid Bible school or
kid Bible school?
I didn't really go.
No?
Yeah, I kind of had like a different type of.
Y'all was on the instruments.
Yeah.
That was y'all Bible school.
I missed a lot of stuff because we started so young, so we didn't get the opportunity. We were with the adults.
Yep.
We was with the adults, so yeah, I didn't really get that. Snacks.
Yeah. That was it. So, as we wrap up the 90s game, what's your favorite memory as a child?
Wow, favorite memories as a child would be the holidays in LaRae, going from house to house to house, for sure. Going grandma's house, other grandma's house, and my aunt's house, and just all the love in the house. And the house be hot. It'd be like 50 people in one living room. You know, you smell the food.
Two couches.
Yeah, you know, the game on, the kitchen is going. You smell the food. Like, that's the best time ever. Like, being there with all your cousins, showing all the Christmas gifts and stuff. Like,
going with your new fit, like everything new. This is like
the Jordans. You had a new pair. You got to show them off.
Yes.
Don't let them get wet in the snow.
That's it. That's the drum roll for the 90s show. That's actually the first time we played it on the show. So we had to kick it off.
What's yours?
What my favorite childhood memory? Yeah. I think the holidays. But honestly, if I'm being 100%, it would be being outside. Like, I was outside at like 7 a.m. I was waking the kids up. Like, I was one of those, like, mom's not even up yet. On Saturday.
What's your go-to game? What's your game? I know you was a beast at softball.
Yeah, we played a lot of baseball.
Basketball too?
Basketball too. Yeah. I used to steal Jimmy, my brother's headbands. He'd be gone for the weekends at his dad's. I'm like, I'm going through it. Take his Nike ones. I used to be out there like straight tomboy.
Straight hooper though.
Basketball shorts long. Yep.
Yes. Man, I still remember like you and your sister and Jimmy, man, like growing up, man. Like, y'all was always just like so cool. Just like being around y'all, and I was trying to keep up with Jimmy because he was older. He was all cooler than
him and your brother, I think, are
like a couple years apart.
Yep. Yeah. We was in baby kids just trying to be on the leash. My mom tell you, now you better not act up when we go to Miss Donna's house.
Your mom is so cool, man. My mom and parents, they love y'all, and my grandparents, like, we go back, man.
Right.
And, ministry, like kids in ministry, like that's a whole nother.
Yeah, it's a whole different culture for real.
Yeah, like, man, we can go for days. I think we should talk more about that, so people who didn't grow up in ministry can kind of understand us a little better.
Yep.
Not judge us so much, and
not
not see that we are what they think. The stigma is that we judge people because we're quote unquote better. We're not. Like, we don't think like that.
Right. And things don't get it twisted. It be going down in the church. Like, that's a lot of times, like, and what was the video or the show that came out with Oprah that she did on?
Oh, Greenleaf. Yeah, they went. They
went all the way in. But
I just wish she would have showed
some of the
good parts.
Some of the good,
yeah, because it ain't always that much drama. Even it's drama everywhere.
Right.
But if they would see, a lot of good things. Like this is a big barbershop conversation that I have to deal with.
Yes.
This the only time they can get to me and talk to me because I'm in the chair with the thing over.
Right, you ain't got.
I can't go nowhere.
Oh, that's messed up.
Right, and they saying all this bad stuff, trying to provoke me to say something. And, finally, they'll say, "What you think?" And I'll be like, "Well, for the last such and such days, like, man, we was out in the community and we fed like 4 or 5 families, and it just be quiet like crickets."
Yeah.
Y'all wasn't there. We went to Mark's and filled up a whole truck, and it was 2 families that hadn't had no food in like 2 weeks. We went and took groceries over there, and they're like, "Oh, like, hey, it's like show the good parts too, like don't just watch how you represent. Watch how you represent God.
Right.
Watch, be careful with that."
Yeah,
so.
And learning too, like, for having a relationship with God, right, doesn't necessarily require a lot of the religious aspects of tradition. And I think that's part of, there's a lot of church hurt. And we can that's what we should have. We should definitely have an episode around it, because I know so many, even my own, some of my own story is, and knowing, like, for me, I ran away from a lot of that because of what I saw. I saw a lot of the negative. So I was like, well, if this is what God is, I don't want nothing to do with that. And God had to bring me in like a little birdie and be like this little thing, and like, no, I'm going to show you who I am through relationship. And now I'm flying a little bit.
Yeah.
You're starting to see that.
Are you soaring, man? You
soaring?
Yeah,
I'm an eagle.
Soaring. Yeah, definitely soaring. That's and again, that's like, we can go more into it later. There's just, definitely anybody that's listening, like, if you're going through something like that, like, it's so many aspects that you have to consider. Give yourself some grace.
Yes.
Definitely give yourself some grace. There's so much things that happen culturally, and there's so much unknowns in there. There's ways that things could have been handled.
Yep.
I hate to say it like that, this word, but it's a lot of ignorance when it comes to the ministry side and how the people are handled.
Yeah.
And conversations like this is where these things get eradicated. And the thing is figuring out, like I said, that invisible force that you see. Once you start trying to open up the layers and peel back the layers, as walls start going up and issues get magnified.
Right.
And then it's like, maybe I shouldn't do this, but you, I think, are one of, there's certain people that can get out there and be like, all right, let's do this. Like, let's figure out a way to help, this type of situation.
Right.
That do happen.
Yeah.
I mean,
and understand, like, we're all human. So the leadership in ministry, everyone is human. And so that's why the relationship, at the end of the day, if something happens to the leader, what's going to happen to the people there? It's like, you have to have a relationship regardless.
What if, I'm going to cut you off.
No,
what if
we're just gonna go there.
What if ministry moved at this direction? That life moves at the speed of relationship. What if ministry moved like that?
It would be different. It would be the manifestation.
Is it the same thing as life moving at relationship as far as your relationship with God? What if the speed of life moved at the relationship not only God, but also with individuals.
With community.
They would see it different.
Yep.
You know, I look at you differently versus what I know about you. I look at you. I see through just who you are now. I can see who you were, and I can also see where you're going.
Right.
Versus just who you were and what's going on now, which changes everything. It changes the whole perspective. Perspective, which I love that saying. It can either be your passport or you can bring your prison cell.
Yeah, that's real.
Like those are the two. It's up to you to make a choice, though.
Right.
And that aspect of church hurt and church disappointment, let down, mistrust, abuse. I got a list of it. It's comes from pride. Comes from a sense of pride, but it also is stemmed from a cultural cycle of not learning about systems that are in place that affect us on all different levels. Yeah. And I'm kind of broad because I can go into it.
Yeah.
I just like
and generationally, and that's the big piece. Is like a lot of it is inherited. So you think you're doing something that's because this is a tradition and because this is how we've done it. Yep. But when you get into the real, we have churches on every corner. You're in Cleveland. When you go, I'm sure even if you take downtown to the highway and go west, same in LaRae, it's churches on every corner. So for me, a good question that I've always been asking is, how is that working? Right. How is it working? We're dying at rapid rates from violence, from health, from poverty. So if it was working, and I always believe anything that's, physical is reflection of what is spiritual. Come on. This is a reflection of what we are operating in spiritually. So for us, I believe this is deep. So we're definitely going to have a part 2, Jordan Simmons back with maybe some special guests as well with you. But I feel like this is a message that there's so many people who have turned their face and heart away from God because of the religious hurt or experiences. And God's like, turn your heart back to me. Yeah. Turn your heart back to me and allow me to heal you, and pray for those individuals because they're only operating in what they know, and there's grace there. But if we don't continue to cultivate the relationship with God as the top priority. Number one. When I wake up, when I go to bed, in between my, all of that. And honestly, we have a victim mindset in our culture. We want to put the blame on everybody. So not to get preachy, to be real in this is
that is. So what you just said was that is a part of not being in purpose. When you're out of purpose, then you're out of alignment.
Yep.
When you're out of alignment, you're not pleasing. When you're not pleasing, you're not using faith. When you're not using faith, then you're probably not using hope. When you're not using hope, you're probably hopeless.
Right. With all that equals dead. I can keep going. Dead in our bodies.
I can keep going and keep going and keep going and going and going. Like chain reaction. So like stepping into purpose is gonna be a game changer for every person. Just try to discover it. Your best. I mean, I'm finishing my book.
Breaking news.
I'm finishing my book. It's 21 Day Purpose Challenge.
Love it.
It's going to be what the world needs for this season.
I love that.
It's amazing. I mean, I literally I can't take no credit for it, honestly. Yes. I really can't because it was God inspired, but it's the simple steps. It's very practical. It's starting with the first day. When you just, if you don't say, I don't know my purpose, but this is the first step.
Yep, to get you to where you need to go. And we're definitely gonna dive.
You might not get that at church. Right. You might not get that at church. You might not get that at church.
We're definitely not getting it in other places either. So let's be real. Yeah. So love the conversation, and I know
I like the thing, by the way, the horns, by the way. Thank you.
That's my DJ mix. I'm gonna have to add
DJ Miles LaRae. I'm gonna call you by your whole name in a minute. I'm this close.
You're so close to put me out there. No, but this has been good. Definitely knew bringing you on, and I know I was trying to bring you on earlier in the launch of the season, but I definitely believe that what you've been being prepared for, what we've been being prepared for, is for such a time as this. And so, as always, you always got a home here with LaRae.
Love it. It's nice.
Yes. So I want to leave. I always leave with a pure message. So one thing I heard this week was, kind of going back into our relationship with God. What if we stop asking God what we need to do and start asking God, who do we need to be?
That's awesome.
And I was like,
That's awesome. Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
in that, and as we mature, right, we're talking, this whole journey is about maturing into our purposes in life, right?
Maturation.
So what pure message can you leave the show with today, Jay?
I stand, I mean, I have a lot, but I stand on one that always comes to my mind is know God. And I know people are probably like, well, I don't do God. I don't do, like, he's there. He's always there, which is what I was going to say. He's always there. No matter what happened, like, he's always there.
Yes.
He can't not be there, if that makes sense. So know God. Make sure God knows you, and be open to God moments.
I love that. Sounds like a relationship with God.
Yep. Be open to the moments. Know him. Make sure he knows you, and be open to those moments that he puts in your life that are not that are out of your control, and embrace it. Embrace the process. Trust the process. Go for it, man. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's it. We dropping the mic here. Thank you again, Jordan, for joining the show.
Thank you for having me.
Always appreciate you and your wisdom, your knowledge, your brotherhood that you bring into my life. And for those of you tuning in, like I said, we're going to have to definitely do a part 2 to this conversation, but you've been tuned in to the LaRae Show. I am your host, Alysha Ellis, with a very special guest, Jordan Simmons here. And as you heard, you can follow us on all social media. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can get more light everywhere by Heart to Heart Conversations. We're signing off. Peace.